Hello, everyone. Today we have a remarkable guest, Dr. Ömer Atilla Ergi. Welcome to my show, sir.
Hello, Aydoğan. Thank you for inviting me again.
You're so welcome, sir. Today I want to talk about a very interesting surah in Qur'an. We know that you are making interesting connections between Qur'an and some scientific findings. And some believe that this surah might be related to in some extent, quantum physics, and it can give us some information about the creation of the universe. So it is Surah Hud, and the seventh verse. It says, "And it is who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. And before that, his throne was upon the water, that he may test you, who of you is better in conduct." So, can you explain, as a physicist and theologian, how do you interpret first these 6 days? How can it be possible to create the universe in 6 days? And what do you understand from the second part of this verse? His throne was upon the water, and how do you connect it with quantum physics and creation of the universe, sir?
Yes. As you said, Aydoğan, chapter Hud. Actually, the chapter is named after a prophet, Prophet Hud, who lived about 4,500 years ago. He was sent to a nation called Ad, Kavmi Ad. But this specific verse, the seventh verse of chapter Hud, is quite unique, and I think it should be analyzed, in detail. There are two parts to it, as you mentioned as well yourself. The first part of this verse informs us that the universe was created in 6 days. The term is days there, but when you think about philosophically, it cannot be days as we understand it, the Earth days, the 24-hour Earth days, because the Earth was not created by then. So it cannot mean that. We take this term from the Qur'an because the term used there is sittati ayyamin, meaning 6 equal time periods. Although, like I said, the term ayyamin generally translated as days, but when you look at the lexicon, Arabic lexicon, we see that it could mean period, eons, or it could mean eras, stages. So it comes to several meanings in the Arabic dictionary. And we can support this by looking at other verses in the Quran. For example, we see that the term day signifies different lengths of time. When we look at chapter Ma'arij, verse 4, where it states that angels ascend to him in a day which is 50,000 earth years. This is in chapter Ma'arij, verse 4. So this indicates that the length of the day depends on time dilation, which we call in physics. It is experienced by the traveler and the observer in a different way. We know this to be true as Einstein's special relativity, which states that nothing could travel faster than light, but as one approaches the speed of light, one experiences time dilation, where time begins to flow slower. So I thought about these 6 equal periods, which is mentioned in the Quran as 6 days, for a while. And one day it occurred to me that when we divide the time which has passed since the Big Bang into 6 equal periods, it turns out to be 2.3 billion years for each period. So for each day, we could say. So we can divide 13.8 billion years, which is the assumption now that the universe, when the universe has began. And if we divide this by 6, we come up with the number 2.3 billion years per day. But how does this, confirm the Quran? Well, another verse in the chapter Fussilat, verse 9, it states that, say, do you indeed disbelieve in the one who created the earth in 2 days? So this verse specifies that the earth was created in 2 days, which is 2 equal periods. Now, if the entire universe was created in 6 equal periods, 6 stages, each period, signifies 2.3 billion years, and Earth in 2 equal periods, 2 days, then each period on Earth's, we could say in Earth's creation, should equal 2.3 billion years each day. So when we look at contemporary science, it tells us that the Earth has been around for approximately 4.6 billion years. That is 2.3 billion plus 2.3 billion, which is 2 days. It equals 4.6 billion years. So in a way, we can sort of do the math, and it works out that the universe was indeed created, just like the Quran says in Surah Hud, in 6 equal periods, or 6 stages, we can call them. So fascinatingly, the first part of this chapter actually can be, verified with scientific data. And as you mentioned too, Aydan Bey, the second part of the verse.
Before starting the second part, sir, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yes. So you just referred to another surah, Ma'arij, and I think it was about the speed of the angels, which we believe light beings. So can you say that actually the Quran was giving some insights about the speed of light to us? I mean, can you find any connection between the speed of light and this particular verse?
Yes, definitely, because a number of mathematicians did the math on this. I know a few people who are, specialists in mathematics, and they did the calculation on this. And when you look at the speed or the velocity that the angels are traveling at, according to the Quran, which is for us who are the observers, we can put us as the observer effect. 50,000 years passes, whereas for the angels themselves, only a day passes. So when they did the math, it turns out to be very, very close to the speed of light, very, very close to the speed of light. The way they calculate this is they use the Lorenzo effect, which is including the time dilation in there. And it is based on the special relativity being true. So if Einstein is correct with his special relativity, the math works out to be perfect, and angels are indeed, traveling at a very, very high speed. It's almost the speed of light, but it's just 100 the way the math comes out. So yes, indeed, the Quran verifies that they are traveling, at very, very high speeds, close to speed of light. Yeah,
I remember Einstein and Oppenheimer co-authored. I saw a document actually. I saw a document where Einstein and Oppenheimer co-authored a report to the U.S. government. It was about the extraterrestrial bodies. So they were so convinced that actually there are some other entities, intelligent entities in the universe. And Oppenheimer was very interested in some Eastern teachings, and remember that he was also trying to learn Sanskrit language to better understand Mahabharata, for example, the Hindu text. So I think, a scientist like Einstein might have read Quran as well. I mean, I don't know any specific data whether Einstein was inspired by the Quran or this particular verse, but there is a correlation between what Einstein discovered and what this verse actually is referring to. I don't know whether you would agree.
No, that's definitely because look, Quran was, it's a 1400-year-old book,
right?
And when did we discover that light travels, at a certain velocity, that nothing can, travel faster than light? It's just recently, and when you think about it, it's just a century. But maybe just a little bit longer. But yes, the Quran mentioned this with an interesting verse. How could the people living at that time know something like this? Because the Quran is saying, to the observer, it's 50,000 years passes, but the traveler takes that distance within a day. So it actually clearly indicates that there is, time dilation there. It's very clear, which we know today by modern physics. Yes.
Okay. So what about the second part? So it says his throne was over the water. How is it possible? What do you understand from this verse?
Yes. Well, this is an interesting verse as well, Aidan, because the second part of the verse in chapter Hud, it states that his arsh, usually it's translated as throne, but arsh is actually a very big, maybe similar to this universe, but much, much, much larger than this world. It's a realm. It's a place that God Almighty also created. And there are reports in Islamic teachings that this is where the angels go and ascend to. But if you look at it literally, Arsh means the ceiling. It is the final point of existence. If a being could pass the maybe boundaries of Arsh, they are out of the actual materialistic existence. So Arsh is a huge place, and the universe that we live in is much, much, much smaller, according to the prophetic teachings as well, than the Arsh. And the verse says his Arsh was over water. The term used there in the Quran is ma. Ma means a fluidy substance, like a liquid, flowing thing. And this is what the Quran says. And then we understand that the universe was created from this initial fluid, this initial superfluid, we could say. And maybe to me, interpreting it according to these days' knowledge that we have, contemporary knowledge of science, this indicates that the universe was created from this superfluid plasma-like substance. This is what I understand. And when I look at Bediüzzaman Said Nursi, a famous scholar who passed away in 1960, his books, the Risale-i Nur collection, one of them is The Sign of Miraculousness, Isharetul Ijaz in its original title. Nursi states here that this fluid-like matter, which he himself calls esir, is like a plasma substance. And the Quran uses that term anyway, وَكَانَ أَرْشُهُ عَلَى الْمَاءِ, ma'i, fluidy, flowing. And this indicates that this substance that the arsh of the Almighty was upon is some sort of an ethereal substance. After creating this matter, it condensed into fundamental particles, according to Nursi. In other words, it transformed into a quantum particles and then atoms. So this matter is generally depicted as a flowing substance. Some believe that the entire universe is composed of this matter. There are verses which support this interpretation, as well as scientific data as well. Like, for instance, if you look at Surah Yasin, which is chapter Yasin, verse 40, it states that all celestial bodies swim in an orbit established for them. So swim, the term swim is very interesting, but the Quran is saying that all celestial bodies, stars, planets, everything out there, they all swim in an orbit that is established for them. So this is very interesting too. So the term used here in the Quran, swim, is quite intriguing, because it suggests that what we usually refer to as an empty space, void, is not actually an absolute vacuum, but rather similar to an ocean, meaning that it is made up of a flowing substance. The interesting aspect of this is this. Recently, we have just detected what we call the gravitational waves. Right. And this indicates that outer space isn't really a calm place, which was once thought to be. Rather, it appears to be like a wavy sea. And astrophysicists frequently use the term fabric of space. Right. It is not an empty void. So space is made up of some form of substance that we have yet to understand. Perhaps this substance is the quintessence of the universe, a substance from which the universe was created. The only thing in physics that really fits this description is some type of maybe an energy plasma. And plasma is known as the fourth state of matter and exists only at incredibly high temperatures. In ancient times, when we're trying to correlate the meaning of the words with science, we look at in ancient times, they describe this, the essence of space, with the term ether. The first person mentioned this substance was Aristotle. He claimed that the sky wasn't an empty space, but rather it was filled with a substance called ether. However, when we look at the historical development of it, during the 17th century, for example, scientists like Isaac Newton, Isaac Newton is a genius, he's the father of modern physics, we could say. He actually acknowledged the existence of this substance. And in the 19th century, Michael Faraday stated that electromagnetism and light operated within this medium. So they were all confirming it then. And Nursi referred to this matter, as I mentioned, as esir or ether as well. So the existence of this matter was accepted by scientists throughout history. Even important figures like, as I mentioned, Newton and Einstein acknowledged the existence of this substance. And this substance really entered into the academic literature as luminiferous ether. However, in 1887, an experiment conducted by Michelson and Morley showed that light always traveled at the same speed in space, regardless of its direction. Consequently, they concluded at the time that light did not use a medium in space, and therefore space was like an absolute void, emptiness, vacuum. And perhaps a substance like ether, they thought did not really exist. Yet there was another twist in history during 1915 when Albert Einstein proposed the general theory of relativity, and he proposed that to explain gravity, he stated that celestial objects with great mass bends and curves space. Today, we know that general relativity has been verified, through observational and experimentational data. To cite an example, I can say light usually always travels in a straight line, but when light from a distant star travels towards us, towards our solar system, and passes by a massive object, for example, like another star or a galaxy or even a black hole, it bends towards the massive body. And in science, this is called gravitational lensing. The phenomenon occurs because massive objects like stars, galaxies, black holes can bend the path of light as a result of their gravitational field. which is bending space itself, causing the light from other objects behind them to appear distorted and bent. Therefore, maybe we can say with some certainty what we call empty space really is far from being an absolute void or a vacuum. It actually resembles a wavy sea. In other words, space is composed of substance, some substance at least, while modern physics maybe do not use the term ether anymore. It does, however, acknowledge that the fabric of space is made up of some type of substance. Mm-hmm. Perhaps in today's scientific realm, there are various views on what is this mysterious substance may be. There are theories such as gravitons, the particles that carry gravity, may be the cause of these ripples in the cosmic sea, and we have already, as I mentioned, detected the gravitational waves. Right. There was also a theory called the superfluid vacuum theory, and maybe more contemporarily, we can say the string theory is an interesting one too, because everything is made up of very tiny springs that supposedly compose everything in the universe. And in some versions of the string theory, space consists of 11 dimensions. This is quite interesting too. And in addition to that, we have dark matter and dark energy. As you know, maybe 95% of the universe is dark matter or dark energy. Only 5% is observable matter. And of course, according to some quantum physicists, the Higgs field permeating all of space could be made up of this matter as well, or Higgs boson, for example. So ultimately, I can say that the nomenclature is less important than the idea that there is no absolute vacuum in the universe. Even the seemingly empty space we refer to as void is composed of a substance that we really haven't fully understood or defined yet. And this substance might be, according to my interpretation, what the Qur'an refers to as ma, a flowing substance that was initially created beneath the arsh, and therefore the universe or the space-time continuum may have been created from this substance. So personally, I believe this substance may be an exotic energy plasma that actually caused the Big Bang. Because when you look at the Big Bang theory, as you go back in time, you come to a instant defined as Planck time. It is 10 to the power of minus 43 seconds. And perhaps microseconds after this instant, this matter existed as quark-gluon plasma, according to quantum physics, meaning that these quarks and gluons were not really confined within individual particles. They were hence moving in a hot, dense soup-like medium. At that instance, there were no atoms yet, not even baryons, antibaryons, or leptons, protons, neutrons, electrons. Maybe, it is a plasma soup that consisted only of, quark-gluon plasma, perhaps reaching temperatures up to, trillions of degrees. This is the initial, state of the universe, just microseconds after the thing, the Big Bang. So I presume, Aydoğan, that what the Quran refers to as ma, a flowing substance, a plasma beneath the arsh, indicates a plasma of energy, which led to the formation of the fundamental particles and the atoms, which led to their existence. Mm-hmm. God knows best, of course, but this is my interpretation of it, really, of this verse.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions, actually, but I don't want to jump to some other subjects. So maybe it would be much better to discuss, for example, what's some other intelligent beings which are called, UFOs or UAPs, extraterrestrial intelligent beings. I mean, we can include the angels into this,
Yes.
topic as well. What would or what might they know about the fabric of this universe that we do not know? I mean, I want to discuss this topic with you
Yes. Yes.
in our
Yes.
next podcast, because we know that they are so fast. And what do you think? I would ask maybe in my other next podcast, what would they know about the fabric of this universe, so that they can travel so fast? But let's discuss this in
I
our
think that's a very good topic. I
yes,
don't. Maybe we can discuss it at another
another time.
program, like you said. But yes, they are. It's to do with their creation, what they are made up of, and also with their knowledge as well, like you said.
Okay,
But it is a big topic. We can
it is a
discuss
big
it.
topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Ergi, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your
Thank
time.
you.
Mhm. Ladies and gentlemen, we had Dr. Atilla Ömer Ergi. Today we have discussed the Surah of Hud and verse 7, which was talking about the creation of the universe. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.